I felt Red was calling me, and I was like, this is bold, and I'm on here with Amy. But today you seem more neutral than me.
What's
So,
interesting you say that because red is my power color and 5 is my power number. So there are many times you'll see me in red because that is my power color. So we just switch. You just took it and I'm just floating with you today. So I'm with you.
wow.
Yeah.
I just love your spirit. Only if people heard like the little bit that you just said before this live. So, hi everyone. Great afternoon to you or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. My name is Pratibha Day and I am the host and founder of Chai Together. Today I am here with Miss Lady Bolding. How are you feeling?
Hey, good morning. Well, here it's just now afternoon. So I like being on the East Coast because I feel like we get to show up first. It's the first time in my life I think I've been first without trying, right? You're just, hey,
Wow.
3 hours ahead. So yeah, today is
I
good.
love it. I love it. Tell us why you call yourself Lady Bolding.
Mm. Wow, we only have how long? No, I'm just kidding. I will say I've been asked that before. And when I was speaking on the Les Brown Power Voice, I gave a small piece of an opportunity for life to kind of turn me into a monster. When anger takes over and when despair and feeling hopeless and you become a person you're not, because we're love at the end of the day, and at the beginning of the day we're always love, but there are things that happen to us, and sometimes it will cause us to be a lesser version of ourselves and to be an angry person. And from the time I was born at 4 pounds to a drug using mother, all the way till I was 40, digging in the dumpster for recyclables as a accomplished career woman because of some of life's things, life could have turned me into a monster. I could have very well just been a very mad, angry person. And for a very large portion of my life, that's what I was. I was angry. I was boisterous. I was bold in all the wrong ways. So had life had its way with me, I would have become a monster. But God kept me and kept me a lady. He truly brought the tenderness out in me. And I'm happy to say I'm ladylike. I'm happy to say that I'm soft and tender, so yeah, I'm proud of that. Lady Bolding it is, and it was well earned.
Wow. I just love hearing you speak. It's just like water flowing, you know?
Thank
It's
you.
just like soothing and like everything is just like just pouring. You just pour so much of yourself into the world. And I remember when I started, I heard your story on Les's, in Les's Academy. And I do remember when you were telling us about how you were an accomplished nurse, but then you were homeless and in the shelter. Like, how did you get there?
So let's see. First, let me go back to what I had. I was driven. I was a single mother of three children. Plus, I took on some other children in my life. I had come from a childhood that was pretty much. I was on my own since 17. My mom passed when I was 6, like I said, and then from there I was in and out of foster homes, and then I was on my own at 17. Went through a lot of life crashes, so to speak. Single mother with 3 children, but I had a passion and a mission to not have my children see and experience what I did, or to feel less than or a lack because they were with a single parent. So I had great jobs. I always held on to good jobs. And I said, I want to go to something more safe. We're always seeking safety because we're running, we have this fear driven thing, right? So I was like, I'm going to go to be a nurse. They're never out of work. So I took myself through school. And while I was taking myself through school, I was cleaning toilets. I was doing whatever I needed to do to make that happen. And so from there was a situation that occurred. My sons and I were coming from a gym and working out. And my son called me. He said, Mom, I'm scared. There's police surrounding my car. I'm scared. Now, mind you, at this time, my oldest is playing college football. My youngest is playing high school football, known all over the press enterprise. My other son, my foster son, is also in the car, also playing football for the high school. I am well known in the city where I'm working for directing this nursing center. And so we're serving the community. We're volunteering. My son, in fact, was in volunteering for foster services, where they bring the kids for football camps. He did that back to back, year to year, where we were about giving. So all of a sudden my son calls me and he's like, Mom, I'm scared. I got all these cops surrounding my car. I just left you. We just came from a gym. By the time I get there, you would have thought he had went and really robbed a bank. Like there was 7 patrol cars. There was all kinds of, hi, Demetrius. There was all kinds of undercovers. There was, I mean, you would have literally thought they committed this huge city crime. By the time I get there, I let them know, hey, I'm the legal owner of the car he's driving. I have 2 minor children in there. I am the parent of all of them. I'm trying to be nice. He talks to me. Before you know it, and I won't take up the whole hour dumping sadness, but I ended up getting assaulted. I do have some injuries that are permanent. Everything was videoed. My youngest son. The scene that took forever to etch out of my head was, as I was sitting on the curb handcuffed and they came by and kicked my legs because they said I wasn't sitting properly or whatever. All I hear is "Mom." And I stop and I look and my son his whole face is bleeding. And I'm like, what? I didn't know what happened because I just got through getting slammed on the car. So I wasn't sure what happened. They had punched my son and he was a minor at the time. Long story short, because of that event, when you're working in the medical field, they run background checks, right? So I told the company that I was doing part-time work for, and the company I was doing full-time work for, that, hey, this happened. And I like to be honest because my job is very important to me. It's what feeds my family. Ironically, there was no more work found. I ended up becoming jobless. And then the thing is about being jobless and having something that looks like, resisting arrest, what they had put on there, it makes you look like an aggressive person. It doesn't matter what it looks like as far as your references on your application. They always say innocent until proven guilty. But here's the thing. When you get a charge, fault of yours or non-fault of yours, it is automatically public knowledge. So they went on there, ran my background, and because it was case pending, I fought this for 2 years. 2 years. So needless to say, all I had was finding ways. And that's actually what led me to acting. That's actually what put me in the short film. That's actually what put me in the dumpster for recycling. So it's like, absolutely, Demetrius, I really don't even know if my son has even recovered. I think the rest of us have kind of recovered, but my youngest is having a hard time. And so it's like, that led us to that, to where it was like, I didn't know where I was going to sleep. The car got repoed. I mean, it was that time where I had considered, the only last and second time in my life I'd ever thought about, is this where it ends? Is this where I should end it? Did I do enough? I raised my kids and now it's my time to go? Because certainly I couldn't have went from that childhood that I had into repeating this in adulthood. Like, this is not life. This is not life. So that's kind of how that happened. It's just, it was the thing. It deepened me though. So, I mean, yeah. And that's what led it to that.
I just find it so fascinating how when, and I don't want to make this obviously about, police officers, it's like to each their own. But whenever an event like this occurred, that to take into consideration the long-term effect of it on the people that are involved, like Demetrius saying, the PTSD,
right?
No one should have to go through things like this. And of course, there's even worse ones, right? With Black Lives Matter. And it's just the common sense. And it's like, when it needs to be like a wake-up call. Like, when are people going to realize that that's inhumane, how to treat people just because you have a badge? Or, it's not even where they have this extensive training to become an officer. It's not very hard. And it's not even where you need an education. So do you personally feel like more needs to be done in that sector? Like, for them to go through like psychological testing and different things, right, before you can wear a badge?
By far. So in these few years that I was finding ways to substitute money, I will say that there was 2 people that stood beside me and helped me to their ends to make sure that I wasn't sleeping outside, so to speak. But we were all crunched in a very small area. And, this is the first time I've ever said this publicly, but me and my youngest son were sharing a bed. Because I had taken on other children, and I had my oldest son who just went through surgery. And then nobody, I couldn't get work because, of the situation. So we were literally cramped. There was times I went to bed hungry, and I hadn't did that since I was a kid. During those 2 years, I thought about that. I said, certainly we can't be in a place where this is acceptable. And I'll be honest, I was actually embarrassed to discuss this situation because there was people who were actually dying behind police brutality. So to me, I felt fortunate to be able to stand here or sit here or be still alive to tell my story. So I didn't talk about it. Actually, this is the only maybe the third conversation I've ever had about it publicly. And it's because of, like you said, people are losing their lives out here for this, And so I said, what is it that I would want? I was going to go all the way to trial. I wanted to take this all the way to trial. In the midst of that, I went flat broke. All my nest egg savings, all that I had went on a lawyer. Well, what happens is when you get caught up in the matrix of the system, it takes forever for things to happen. I was going to court 1 to 2 times a month without a car, finding a way. And the time I did have a car, it was my son's car and I couldn't afford the tags. So we're going to court on expired tags. Go figure. But anyway, it was like, what would I want? What would the justice be in this for me? And it would be a requirement. And I'm going to say this because of a few things that were said during this time I was being thrown in the cop car. The officer, the second officer that drugged me from the curb, literally without my feet touching the ground. I'm 5'2". I may look big on video and carry a big spirit, but I'm 5'2" and I weigh like 130 pounds. That's not dainty, but that's not large. So to pick me up on one shoulder, which is where I had the damage at, and drag me past the median in the middle of the road and slam me on the car. And you can hear in the microphone people going, like, why are they slamming this little lady? When he threw me in the car, he looked at me because I was begging them to adjust my cuffs because they'd put them on wrong. And he said, if you weren't such, he called me some cuss word to say stupid, your kids wouldn't be that either. And I told him, I said, you don't know me. Surely I probably shouldn't have kept running my mouth. But, we get to the jailhouse. I still hadn't been read Miranda rights. But here's where it thickens to where I said these people really need training, because we go into I go into the cell, never read my Miranda rights. The officer that actually put the cuff on me wrong, who slammed me, who was talking to me for 2 minutes, then slammed me on the same window of my son. So my son got to see his mom get slammed. He said, you do understand why I did this, don't you? And I remember going, and I told him, I said, no, not at all. And you know what he told me? These are his words. He said, well, my toughest fights have been with small people. So what you're telling me is that when you see me, you premeditated a challenge. You are ready. And I understand. Look, I'm not here to talk crap on the systems of all police or how it's done. I'm just saying there's room for improvement. So what he did is he was already frightened within himself. So he addressed me as if I was somebody else he may have had a tussle with. So if I had one thing to say, sorry to drag that out, it would be, I do believe that they need extensive training, not just on tactic, but on emotional mindset and control. I need you to be at bigger peace than I am. I need you to know how to correct all the adrenaline that's going through your body in order to appropriate it to the situation. That's what I need. I think it is said that here in the US, we have the shortest training for officers. And I remember at the end of my case, I didn't end up taking it to trial because I had ended up getting a free lawyer because I ran out of money. And he said, Amy, if you take it to trial, he said, first of all, the system's not built for the people. It's built for the system. He said, so if you go and you get, basically the jury says that you're guilty for resisting arrest, they're going to make a show out of you. They're going to, and I'm not going to say that I quit from fear, but I got tired of running a race to where I could put my energy into something better. So they ended up giving me and my son this. So this is another system. They'll lie when they want to. So I said, well, I'll take an infraction, which is nothing more than like a ticket, right? They said no, but we can take resisting arrest, and we could put it to noise disturbance or something like that. And I said, so what you're telling me is you're comfortable lying about the truth so that it's justified in the system, but you're not comfortable with me being right about the truth. And I realized that I was putting my energy and putting myself in a battle that's not where I should be. I need to be here telling my truth, spreading love. That was just a distraction to keep me from where I need to go. So at the end of it all, this is all I wanted. I asked my lawyer, I said, do I have a gag order on any of this? He said, no, it's there, I said, good, because I will tell this story. I will write this story. The right people see it, because change has to happen. And so it started the whole spiral of me and how I went into changing my mindset and who I am today. So I'm not going to say I'm thankful for the situation. I'm not going to say that I'm thankful for that pain. But I say that I am thankful that I had the strength to keep pulling for myself, because in those moments I doubted existence altogether.
I agree with that, because I went through something similar where I just recently, about 2 months ago, I went to the police for two men who were harassing me, and they didn't even take down a case number, and there was no follow-up. And that's when I had to make a decision. Do I want to continue giving this my energy, or do I focus on Chai Together and keep sharing stories and move on? Because I felt like that was going to be very taxing on me. So I made that decision to just move on. So not out of fear, like I wanted to do something about it. Like, can you look at those people on the camera? Oh, we don't see them. How do you not see them? You know what I mean? Anything I ask, you don't have the answer to. You're a police officer. But that's just, different towns have different, better stations or not as great stations. But that experience is very scary for me as a woman, because as I was walking away, I didn't know if they were going to shoot me. That area, they can have guns or drugs. And as I walked away, because they wanted my body, right, as two men, as I walked away, I was very afraid, because someone who's been through prior trauma, right, growing up, we all have certain traumas. I didn't know, like, if I was going to get shot from the back. I heard a story of where when a woman was being catcalled, I believe in Texas, they shot her in the leg because she didn't respond. So I kept it moving. But then at the end of that walk, I had like tears in my eyes, because I just thought that no one should be afraid of walking away from that kind of situation, that, hey, do I get to keep living?
Right.
But what you went through, I have not experienced that, where, a police officer, a man, is assaulting you and physically abusing you. And this happens all the time.
Right.
But the fact that it's so in the norm that, oh, this happened, it's just like becomes a part of people's subconscious that, oh, it's just another person it happened to, and and I do feel that, the police officer stating that, what did he say? He said to me that you were small. Is that what he was saying?
Well, my hardest fights have been with little women. Yeah.
So it seems like he has a fetish to do that, something maybe narcissistic behavior, something inside of himself that he needs therapy for, to use you as a punching bag, basically. And he uses that badge to express himself and all the women he can take the anger out on, right? Especially being women, maybe it feeds into him, feeds his soul, as sickening as it sounds.
I'll say this. There's a lot of people out there with the same ism as he may have, but they're not wearing a badge. That's true. I think for me, the difference, okay, you have your own whatever. I'm not here to judge your life. But when you put yourself in a position of power, you then at that point need to have responsibility over your own emotions. So, because I know a lot of people out there that would probably treat people like crud if they had the authority to, because they do on a regular basis. But see, what happens is we act like an officer comes in and he's automatically emotionally trained. He's not. This guy must have probably been in his 30s. I'm 40 something just now learning how to control my emotions. So I guess what I'm saying is everybody has seasons of growth and change. And I pray that when he looked into my eyes and I told him I didn't understand, and when he seen the bruising that was on my arm, and when he seen the swelling that was on my arm, that it triggered a I want to be better response. I hope, because what I do know about life is you don't get away with poor behavior. So it's not for me. And the sad part is people get tired of trying to justify themselves. I got tired of fighting, and that's what they want you to do. They want, the court system wants to tire you. They want you to miss that court date. Because I remember one time begging my lawyer, I was like, I don't have a ride and I do not have money to Uber to a city where this happened a year and a half ago. Please, can you not have me? Well, Amy, I'm afraid if they say that you're not there, there's a chance they could put a warrant on you. I was like, are you serious? For a year and a half, I've been going to court, but I can't miss this court date because I have no money. I have no way. So, and I will tell you, I'm sorry to hear about what you just said. And I know what that's like. So I was attacked twice as an adult, and I think we may have discussed this or may not one time on a suicide thing.
Yeah.
And the last time I was an adult, I was running a company in San Diego. It was somebody I'd hired at the company that I was running. He was a well-distinguished gentleman. He was actually a professor. And long story short, he had tracked me to a point to where he tried to pull me into his car while I was jogging. He came, snatched me up, all of about 6'5", snatched me up, pulled me in his car, tried to rape me. And if it wasn't for nosy neighbors, thank God, and the screams, then he would have got away with it. Here's what I'm getting to. When I went to report it, because everyone's like, oh, did you report it? Did you, well, yes, of course. I ran to report it because I have kids. I'm a single mom, you know what I mean? And went to report it. And the lady said, so you knew him? Well, no, I hired him, but I don't know him, but you knew his name. Okay. But again, I am over 200 people. Like, I know a lot of names, but that doesn't mean I know them. You know what I mean? And so it was so embarrassing to have to share with the people that I work for. So I have a restraining order on a guy that I hired for your company. Like, how horrible is that? And then people look at you like, yeah, you probably, you enticed that, you this, you that. And that is, if I was, it's sad to say that I feel as if I had presented myself differently as not such a powerful person, as not such whatever, that they would have looked at me as a true victim. But because they see strength in me, they think, how can that happen to you without your consent?
I received the same questions when firstly, thanks for sharing all of this, but it took a lot of courage and AKA balls for me to walk into a police station again after when I was 16, when I went to give my statement, they said it was false and sent me back home for physical abuse. So it was it was a new Pratiba with the growth, I do Chai Together, all this great stuff, but I went there alone. Right. And I went there and they were asking me the same questions as in, did you see the car? Did you see this? You know what I mean? Or the questions as in, instead of comforting the person, it's more of like interrogating the person. Like, did you know that? Like the same things. And it's like, it's a woman walking here alone, but it's like, when it's a man, it's different for some reason, even when you go to get a car or anything regarding finances. And it's like a woman is, inferior, but truly, I mean, we're the ones who birthed the nation, like, and you know what he told me? He said his advice, the police officer's advice, was for me to get pepper spray. And that was the end of that. And I already did literally, like I have it, but it's interesting to me when they didn't follow up and I followed up myself. And I was having a conversation, the police officer said he felt insulted because I told him I don't feel he's doing his job properly. And that's for you to get off your ass and do something about it. But it's like they want the end result, as in they already want you to be raped. Then we could do something about it. They already want you killed. Now we can go talk to somebody about it. But it's like to prevent that from other men doing that to other women in that area. And this was just down the road from the police station.
Right.
And they said they don't even have cameras there, and that legally the stores don't need to have cameras there. And I'm like, anything can happen out here. I was by myself early in the morning. Like there's no other people around, and I don't have a car as well either. And I actually wanted to, make a call or something at the Quick Mart area. And yeah, that's where it happened. That's just so scary. The fact that it's down the street from the police station, but you don't do anything about this area. Like you're in this area, Right. But then when I go to see all the reviews online for this police station, I see a lot of women writing on there, I was domestically abused and I almost got killed. I called the police. They didn't come. They didn't do anything. Like same stuff. I'm like, oh, like this all makes sense now. Like they don't care.
And so I get that. And I think where I want to be for myself is I want to look at not the person, but the systems that they're connected to, because they didn't give themselves a job. They had to make somebody feel as if they were, a good fit, a good candidate. But I think it's the systems that are in place that we need to put our energy towards, because as far as people, well, I know crappy people that work at a grocery store. I know crappy people that are dog groomers, but they do good dog grooming. I know good, so my responsibility as an energy, as love, is to keep on incorporating or helping to incorporate a better mindset about it. Because coming from somebody who developed programs for training, and I've developed quality programs, and I've had large staff who all come from different backgrounds and who all had different challenges and who all believed in different ways. I mean, some of those people that I managed, I'm sure were racist. Some of those people that I managed, I'm sure were, what do you call that when they're like males are the ones in sexist? I'm sure that some of those people that I managed, but you know what all talked the same language to them was their paycheck. So here's what happens is we don't worry about quality when we feel these types of things. We worry about numbers and people and the overall production and the overall numbers. You guys have heard it before. Oh, they're trying to get their quota. Watch out. Don't speed down that road. They're going to. So do we fault the people who have became little machines based off of who's feeding them their paycheck? It's like we're looking at the people, but the people are the byproduct of the problem. I guess that's why it was so easy for me to forgive the officer, because I seen his need for a whole different understanding, for growth and for love. Not in that moment. Woo, no, not in that moment. And probably not there for a little while after. But when I came to my becoming and I keep growing and I keep evolving, I understand that what we see is the aftermath of everything. So the experience that I had was an aftermath of a problem that was there well before that night. I just happened to be on that same line that night, on that same frequency that night. Somehow that caused that interaction to happen. Not saying that, oh, I was destined to be, tortured, but saying I happen to be. And sometimes when things like that happen to us, it's so that we can be a part of the change. When you look at people like, Gandhi, or you look at people like Martin Luther King Jr., or you look at people like Malcolm X, or you look at people like, who was that I got prison letters from? Who was that yesterday? Nelson Mandela. When you look at all those things that people had to go through in order to make something good happen for people, it usually came through the sacrifice of some poor decision on somebody else's part. And stories and lessons don't come until well after pain or whatever has been, given. So I know that there's hope. I know that there is.
Wow. So deep, everything that you said. And I want to ask you, do you feel like someone like I've seen, the title Destiny Coach. We have all these different coaches, right, in coaching programs. Do you feel like someone can guide you to your destiny, or do you feel like it's already destined that, a person, a physical being is not what's going to be guiding you to your destiny? What are your thoughts on that?
So it's funny you talk about coaching, because when people say, oh, what do you do? And, that word coaching, I would say that I prefer awareness coaching, because I don't think that we have to struggle as much as we do sometimes. But I think that some of that is necessary. As far as, do I think we came with the blueprint of who we are? I think that there are options for us. And depending on how far we go with our self growth and how far we're willing to reach, you can reach levels of yourself. Now, as far as like, oh, you were going to be a doctor, you were going to be a whatever, I think they may all come into play as to the final, but free will is a beautiful thing. A lot of times people say free will gets them in trouble, but free will actually adds the color to your painting. Because if you believe the way I do, there is no limitation, right? However, if you were to, let's just look at you as a baby. When you came out as a baby, you didn't drive a car. You didn't make breakfast. You didn't go apply for college applications. These all came because there was something in you that pushed you towards them, plus a level of natural growth. So I believe we're put here with as much, if we can think it, if you can believe it, or if you can conceive it, you can believe it, whatever that is. It's very cliche, but at the same time, it's very true. I couldn't see $1 million 10 years ago. I couldn't see it. I thought 1,000, 2,000, maybe 20 years ago, I thought 5,000 was like, whoa, you were rich. From where I came from, $5,000. Oh, wow. Yeah, you were rich. Now I'm going, okay, let's donate $5,000. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's you grow. But had I sat still, again, this is the free will part. Had I sat still, then I could only give back the level of who I am. So therefore, my destiny was in my hands that sat. But if I know and feel that there's something bigger than me, if I respect this universal thing that makes things happen, whether you call it God, Shiva, whatever you want to call it, there's this thing. And if I believe that it's limitless, then I'm living a lie by saying I'm limited. I'm living in fear by saying I can't go do something. But we're lazy creators. So we don't want to sit there and we don't want to think. We don't want to go, what do I want to do? What makes me happy? Instead, we're busy fighting battles that are over. We're big repeating the same histories. We're staying in the same vibrations. We're staying in the same emotions. So when you realize that you're not alone and that you are limitless and that what you want to see for yourself is where you can go, but that's the ceiling that you're providing yourself. It's not what's available to you. It's not how high you can go. It's, okay, if I believe that if we were able to see everything that was available to us, we wouldn't be able to handle it. We'd pass out. We'd just pass out.
Yeah.
No way, money really does grow on trees. You know, it would be messed up. We would be messed up. That's why I believe you're supposed to walk into it. So I don't believe it's a person outside of you as much as you walking with you and finding your destiny. So I can't answer if it's for somebody else, but I know with my walk, it's been a constant awakening and reawakening. Every night before I go to bed, I am not a lazy creator. I see my next house. I see my marble floors. I see these things. And some people say, well, that's greedy. Shouldn't you just be happy with what you have? You worry about you. If you're happy with what you have, doesn't mean I'm ungrateful for my life. But if I was told that I could give myself the best of the best, why would I not reach for that? And if you love someone in your life, what do you do for them? You give to them, right? Whether it's you, whether it's a gift, whether it's a trip, whether it's whatever, you give to them. So you're saying you're not worth that same giving? But with that comes responsibility. You can't get better and better and grow and keep it to yourself. Our job is to spread that love in somewhere or other. What you're doing, chat together. What I'm doing, the pickled heart. What people we went to class with and have been with us, they're all spreading. I'm seeing books being published left and right. I'm next. I see books being published left and right. And it's like, yes, it's the giving. You can't do asking and no giving. It doesn't work like that. But any of it without belief is all works without faith is dead, right? So.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Tell everyone about your podcast. Your show is great too. And you said the adult talks that you have, is that separate or is that the same?
It's interesting that you say that. And I love the fact that you commented, I love that it's adult. I don't know. So here's the thing. I used to get frustrated when I didn't know what was next. I used to be like, oh, I got to know. If I don't know, then I'm not doing it right. Now I go, I just keep moving forward. Everything irons out as I go. So my podcast, I Can, I Will, I'm Worth It. I just now started adding the interviews from people that I have on my show. And one of them was with Leon Walker. And it was about, his molestation and his anger and his rage and his addiction to porn and addiction to whatever else. Being a child who was molested several times, it was nice to see healing in a man and a woman on one show and to be able to discuss, because some people say, oh God, why wouldn't you tell if you were a kid, but you don't understand the mind of a child as an adult, right? When people start to answer questions about a 4-year-old at 44, that's not a fair answer. That's why when you get writing from somebody who can tell you where they were in those moments, it's a beautiful thing, because people on the outside always have a better answer, right? Hindsight's 20/20, and people on the outside can always see better. But it's nice for somebody to stand in their truth and say, actually, there was a part of me that started feeling this way or that way. So yeah, I try to put on there, this is adult content beware. But I mean, but the podcast, I Can, I Will, I'm Worth It. It's on 9 platforms. So I'm sure you can find it. But yeah, there's everything from solo casts with just me cheering you on. And then there's interviews that I'm starting to put on there. So yeah.
Wow. Are those the interviews that you're having on Facebook that you're putting on there, the adult ones? Yeah, they're on Facebook and on YouTube. Lady Bolding Live is also, because I do have members who don't do social media, who they listen to YouTube. And so that actually, again, it was another listener who told me, hey,
I think it was her boyfriend, doesn't believe in social media. He doesn't like getting in that arena. Is there a way I can get your videos to him? And I said, okay, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. So that's how that happened.
So is your YouTube Lady Bolding Live?
Mm-hmm. Lady Bolding Live. Yeah.
Oh, let me stop. That was Demetrius's. That's so awesome. So tell everyone where you're at in life now. I know you were coaching.
Yes.
Where are you now? Like, what are you doing?
So I have a book called Cracking the Rich Code that's going to be coming out here in a few weeks. It is endorsed by Tony Robbins, and it has Britt Harrington I got to get their last names mixed up. Kevin Harrington and anyway, it's a Tony Robbins endorsed book that'll be coming out. And then after that, there's another one that'll be coming out, and there's one in November. So I'm writing heavily. The other thing is I am getting ready to start my boot camp, which is going to be on the 10th of August. It's for ladies only, this one. And it's a motivational boot camp. So there's no sweating with me. You may do a little mental sweating, but I'm not going to have you jogging around the block. So it is subject related, and I'll just give you a sneak peek. So each week has a subject matter. So we meet 2 times a week, Tuesday and Saturday. I come on 2 times. So 6 and 6. So for those people who say I'm a morning person, I got to do this before work. Or for those people who say I don't get off till later, 6 and 6. So you can come to both. You can come to none. You can come to one. Some of the subjects matter. Which one is my favorite is sealing versus healing. And it talks about how we just, burn a patch on something that we really need to think about or address or, get out of our system and heal with. But a lot of times we just iron a patch on there because it looks better and we don't have to deal with it. There's another one. Another subject will be mind and body coherence, talking about how, I don't know if we can cuss on here, but shit rolls downhill. So what starts here goes all over your body. But for some reason, we think that it starts in the body, and then we think no, shit rolls downhill. So we talk about that, about how what you're thinking manifests in your body. So there's just six weeks of 6 different subject matters that we'll be discussing. And at the end, we'll end it with positive affirmations. Everybody will do a guided meditation and get everybody. And it's basically just to recharge. It's basically just to get back right with school starting and with the, things going on. It's just nice to be around an energy that is created solely to pick you up. So it's my first one. I'm excited about it. Wow. Then from there, I do have my one-on-one for those. I have one-on-one clients. I love them to pieces. They are a joy to me. I love seeing breakthroughs. If somebody were to say, what's your favorite thing to watch in the world? A breakthrough. It is the most inspiring, I've cried with my clients before, like, look at you, and they'll tell you, like, some of that, I am not their favorite person until they get their breakthrough. And then they go, oh, okay, that's why you're so hard on me. So, I do the one-on-one coaching, and then I haven't been speaking yet outside, but still, on videos and this and that, in a keynote, hosting. I do hosting, and so that's where I'm at. Writing, showing up, holding camps.
No more nursing.
Oh, I am a nurse. I'm still licensed, but I'm nursing in a different way. Yes, I'm very much still mending. Very much still mending. Yes.
Wow. I like that. It was awesome having you on today.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
appreciate you. And I want to tell you that you're brave, and it's good for the world to see, because a lot of times we're knocked down for our bravery. They want conformity. They want you to conform, and they want you to do whatever. And there's a way to be brave, and there's a way to be intelligent without rubbing things the wrong way. So I appreciate your constant. You are alive, girl. You're everywhere. I'm like, oh, she's here. Oh, she's here. You are so good at what you do. Your networking is phenomenal, and your purpose is real. I mean, I'm chiming with you. I am chiming with you.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
That means a lot to me. Thank you, and thanks, Demetrius, CL, Joanna.
Yes,
for tuning in. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.